Swiggity swoo, how'd you do, guys? This is Powerhouse Pancham, and today, guys, I'm bringing you a video on 5 things to consider when making a VGC team. Also, before I start, guys, in concerns of the giveaway, also my 200 subscriber giveaway, the people who haven't actually collected their Pokemon, which is actually Omniscience, TPAL156, and also Benjamin Layup, you should always message me, guys, or just let me know in my newest video that you haven't got the team, and just tell me when you're going to next be online. Try to make it so I know the time in English. Just England has a time zone, and if you're from like America or even like another country, just let me know what time you'll be on for my time, so I can hop on to Pokemon when you're online and trade over the team. In terms of the newest giveaway on the competitive Greninja, guys, if you can, basically, Pokemon such as Charmander and Froakie are really popular on the GTS system, so if you can try to avoid those two Pokemon, that'd be great. However, if you have something like a Frogadier or Charmeleon, or even a Stage 1 or Stage 2 Pokemon that you'd be willing to give me for a Greninja, I'd be more than happy to take them off your hand, guys. It doesn't actually have to be the basic Pokemon. So let's get straight into the video. Right, strategy is huge when thinking about a team. Well, not all teams, but if you want to be successful, you should always have a strategy in mind. This could be speed control or setting up a simple move. For example, Aaron Zhang on his Apex team, he had a Mega Venusaur, and also he had a Gengar that had Will-O-Wisp and Icy Wind. Icy Wind and Will-O-Wisp were fantastic for him because he was able to manipulate his opponent's speed, and this allowed him to bring in his Venusaur and just sweep with other Pokemon too as well as it. So I have a Politoed at the bottom of the screen here, which actually sets up Rain. Rain is a fantastic weather condition, probably the best out of the four, which is Hail, Sun, Rain, and Sand. Politoed gets the ability to drizzle, making it the only viable VGC rain setup. And this works really well with someone like Ludicolo that gets access to Swift Swim, as well as being really bulky. Ludicolo will be really fast as well in the rain. Other Pokemon to consider is Charizard Y that actually gets access to Drought as well as Ninetales, which actually sets up the Sun. You can then pair this up with a Pokemon such as Venusaur that gets Chlorophyll, which does the same thing as Swift Swim, but in the Sun it times your speed by 2. Also, how does your team handle against popular VGC Pokemon? I know a lot of people don't like using conventional Pokemon members such as Kangaskhan, Landorus, and Sylveon. These are the top 3 Pokemon used on Battlespot, which is the VGC 15 format. But at the end of the day, guys, they're only used so much because they do so well, and they also counter a lot of teams' weaknesses. Kangaskhan, for example, it's really bulky, has 1 weakness and 1 immunity, and it does get access to a lot of moves, including the elemental punches. So if you do want to build a team that beats someone like Kangaskhan, bring someone like Terrakion. Terrakion actually cancels out Kangaskhan due to its fighting nature. Close combat, well, it does outspeed Kangaskhan, and close combat is a no-go if you EV it right. Next we have Suicune for Landorus. Suicune is a water ice type. Ice type moves are 4 times effective against Landorus, meaning you can actually take out Landorus really well. Also we have Sylveon here, and Heatran does really well against Sylveon. It's 4 times resistant to Sylveon's Stab Hyper Voice, which actually turns into a fairy type move with the Pixelate ability. Then, guys, if you guys don't really care about conventional Pokemon and use something like these 3 Pokemon in your team, you can then bring Pokemon to counter Terrakion, Suicune, and Heatran. So Landorus really counters Terrakion really well. Although Rock Slide is neutral, close combat isn't going to do much against Landorus, and also you got the Intimidate as well. You can then bring out something like Zapdos to Suicune. Zapdos is electric flying type, can Thunderbolt Suicune, it can Thunder Wave it, and it can also Swagger it. You could always use Thunder's incarnate form as well. And for Heatran, a lot of Pokemon beat this Pokemon such as Terrakion. Also, Kangaskhan is a really good Pokemon to beat it. Kangaskhan with Drain Punch or Low Kick does actually take out this Pokemon with in one shot if you use the baby Kangaskhan. And yeah, so it's pretty much just a huge circle, guys. The best teams usually involve these sorts of Pokemon, such as Kangaskhan, Landorus, Terrakion, Heatran, Zapdos, and you get my point. So if you do want to win matches, guys, I know I shouldn't really be saying this, but just use Pokemon everybody uses, because that's why people use them all the time, because they win matches. How fast is your Pokemon team? Speed is probably one of the best things, and probably one of the most important things in Pokemon. Without speed, your team isn't going to get any your team's always going to take damage before they deal out damage, and bulkiness is essential, and well, although bulkiness is essential, speed is definitely a bigger aspect in my opinion. Pokemon with a base speed between 50 and 80 can outspeed Pokemon if you know what to do with them. This can be used during Tailwind, Trick Room, and so on. So you could just use different types of speed control to make your Pokemon outspeed it. This can consist of items, abilities, and moves. So as I said before, something like Trick Room, Tailwind, and Icy Wind, and Electro Web all really do help your Pokemon out. Also, moves like Sticky Web can lower a Pokemon speed. Abilities such as Unburden, as we can see here, Tyranitar the Choice Scarf, that's what I meant before. Choice Scarf is also a really good item to run. Abilities such as Unburden, which Slurpuff and Horlucha get access to. If you didn't know what it does, when it uses its item, such as a Citrus Berry or Flying Gem, it doubles the Pokemon speed if they stay in. So if you switch out and bring it back in, then you lose your Unburden boost. And also you get Trick Room. Here we have a Porygon 2 setting up Trick Room, which is a really popular Pokemon. Trick Room is really good, and basically it just depends on what you want to do, guys, because if you don't want to have a strategy, that's fine, but don't expect to win every match you go into. Bulky Pokemon are always essential. I believe every team should have bulky Pokemon, one with special defense investment and one with defense investment. Depending on your strategy, you should have more or less bulkier Pokemon than other teams. For example, Tailwind teams will have less bulkier Pokemon as they want to invest more into speed. Other Trick Room teams will have slower Pokemon that will therefore be bulky by nature. Almost any Pokemon can be made bulky as long as they have the right HP and defense. Around 70 is really good. For example, Talonflame over here has like 76 hit points and 71 base defense with 69 special defense. I think that's it, quote me if I'm wrong. And you get Pokemon like Politoed as well with 90 hit points and 75 in defense. And also you get Garchomp with some really good defense and hit points. So some Pokemon are made to be bulky, such as Aggron, Reuniclus, Porygon 2. But some can be really versatile, such as Talonflame. You mainly see Talonflame running Choice Band on Life Orb Brave Bird, but I've seen so many people run a Tailwind set where obviously the Gale Wings boost means that they get to set up Tailwind before they're taunted by Pokemon, and they run something like a Chartry Berry that halves the damage taken from a Rock Slide, and with the right HP and defense investments, you can really take a Rock Slide from a tracker really well. Politoed, for example, if you looked at the US Nationals of 2014, Alex Aglozo actually used a Choice Scarf Politoed to win it. He said that sometimes he just spammed Rain Dance with it just to beat Charizard Y, which I thought was really cool. But my Politoed, for example, is really defensive and is just used to take hits. Then we had Garchomp in 2014 VGC. I ran a Rocky Helmet Ruskin Garchomp. It did really well, and yeah, I really enjoyed using it. So, also, you always have to consider your team's weaknesses. Depending on your strategy, most teams will have more specific weaknesses. For example, some teams will have bigger weaknesses to rock, not water, rock, electric in Charizard Y, and also fire. Yeah, that's a big weakness. Also in rain, you're going to have more weaknesses to water. Also going to have a really big electric weakness depending on how many water Pokemon you run, and so on and so forth. Also, in Trick Room teams, due to Trick Room usually being set up by Psychic Pokemon, as it is a Psychic type move, you will have a weakness to Dark or Ghost. Yeah, you get Porygon 2, for example, that can do that, but then you have a weakness to Fighting. You can search out your team's weaknesses using certain websites. Team Magma is a great example. I'll leave it in the description below. It's www.teammagma.net. And the only way to find out significant weaknesses to a type or Pokemon is by battling on a regular basis with your team. If a team is suffering from a Pokemon and a different Pokemon to counter it. So for example, you might be suffering from Kangaskhan and you're running a Tailwind team. Just shove a bulky Terrakion in. It really does help, and then you can set the Tailwind to outspeed it in Tailwind. So that's what I mean, guys. So this is my 5 tips to give. There are a lot more, but I thought these were the more basic and probably the more important tips in my opinion. So thanks for watching, guys. Go check out my other content, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.